Do you have a story? I do. I think we got a storyteller here.
GEC?
So let's do the GEC thing.
Okay.
Alright, folks. The following story is inspired by true events. Like one of them shows on the Lifetime channel, you know? If your savior dies, are you still saved? I found myself asking myself that question because I'm in love with a ghost. Of course, Carmen wasn't a ghost when we met. In fact, she was more full of life than any woman I had ever come across. I mean, how many gorgeous Puerto Rican physicists that happen to be kickboxers do you get to meet in this life? I fell hard. I was going through a divorce and my life was falling apart, but she changed everything. It is 5 years later when I get the text message. I'm sitting at the bar at Mumu's. It's colon cancer, she says. It's stage 4. I don't even know what that means. So I turn to Crazy Joe, of all people, and I ask him, and he doesn't know either. So I pull out my iPhone and I Google it. In half a second, the definition of stage 4 pops up like a telegram. The cancer has metastasized, it says. She's terminal. So I drop my phone on the bar. I take her to doctors, surgeons, oncologists, chemo 3 times a week, transfusions, now a pain specialist, but she's down to 100 pounds and nothing is working. And then I meet this guy in Austin at a trade show. He recovered from brain cancer years earlier. They said he was a goner, but then someone told him about the Indian herb. He writes the directions on the back of a computer brochure. There are no signs, no house numbers, he says, and be sure to bring a picture of her. Part of this shaman's magic has to do with visualization. It's a 5-hour drive to the high deserts and a shack above a high, dry riverbed. The old woman sits in a rocking chair with a mortar and pestle in her lap. She's mixing something. As I walk up, she looks at me with the warm patience of the aged. In the bowl is a black paste that seems to soak up the light. She takes a pinch and applies it to the photo with a playing card. The Queen of Hearts, no less. I'm taken aback when she pulls out the matches and lights the photo on fire. She stares intently, watching the paste burn with a blue flame above the surface of the glossy image. I look closer. There's something happening to the picture. I swear it's moving, flickering like one of those old silent movies. Then in a flash, the photo is gone. She mixes the ashes with the Indian herb and hands me this vial. It's 90 degrees here in the sun, but somehow the glass is frosted and cold. One more thing, she says. The Indian herb works only with a pure spirit. It absorbs through the skin, so never ever use it with alcohol. When I get back to Portland, I learn that Carmen is in a coma. I'm too late. That night she comes to me in my dream. She holds me, but she doesn't speak. I tell her she has to let go of this world. I kiss her goodbye. Just that moment, my son wakes me up, calling out from the bathroom. His nose is bleeding. I get him cleaned up and catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror. I must have smeared blood on my face because it looks like lipstick on my cheek. I'm wiping it off when the phone rings. It's her sister, Mercy. Carmen is gone. At Mercy's house, I sit in the kitchen and watch the men from the funeral home wheel her stretcher towards the door. Logan calls out from the living room, "Dad, the TV went off. The power in the house has gone out." It flicks back on the moment they close the door of the hearse. Weeks later, it's 3 a.m. when I stumble home. The nightly beers, they dull the pain, but I wake up the minute they wear off. I look in the mirror and I see that I've forgotten to shave. My eyes are bloodshot from lack of sleep. I don't have dreams anymore. Then I see the Indian herb sitting on the counter. I pick it up and weigh it in my hand. Could this have done the miracle? I wonder. Could it be a cure for cancer? I unscrew the cap and take a whiff. A sulfur smell. I stick my finger in and look at the stuff in my hand. As it warms, the black goo turns clear. I remember what the Indian herb did to the photo of Carmen. It brought it to life. I reach to the reflection in the mirror and I touch it. The Indian herb spreads smoothly on the glass. In a moment, my reflected self starts to blur. I must be really drunk, I'm thinking. Then the image starts to change, deconstruct. My skin, my teeth, my bones are dissolving away. I look down at where my heart would be, and it turns translucent. Inside is something dark, tortured and writhing in pain. Something horrific that's becoming clearer and more magnified each second. I hear a voice from the mirror. This is your soul. I crumple to the floor and I cry out in the night. I let her down. I couldn't save her. This cannot be undone. It's morning now and I'm sorting through the photos I picked up from Carmen's house. There's one of me sitting on the patio at Moo-Moo's. That's odd, I think. Where did she get that? Then I look again. The front of the bar is painted red, but it's always been green since I've been coming there. I grab a deck of cards from the drawer and pick up the Indian herb, and I spread it on the photo. I light a candle. Maybe that's the trick. Wave it over the flame, but don't let it catch. Something in the image begins to come out. It is Carmen. She's starting to come alive in the flickering motion I saw at that shack in the desert. She reaches down to touch my heart in the picture. Then she whispers in my ear, and she points to a beautiful Latina woman who's sitting at the next table. I'm sure I've seen her before. Then I see myself in the picture, and there's something different about me, too. I'm not sad anymore. In fact, I see myself laughing as I move over to join the woman for a drink. Carmen bends down to kiss me on the cheek, and she starts to fade away. Just then, the photo catches fire. Wait, no, come back, Carmen. I try to blow it out, but it's gone to ashes. I still use the Indian herb sometimes. In fact, they painted the bar green a few weeks later, and I just decided to start spending some time on the patio. It's been 2 years now, and yes, I've gotten to know that woman she pointed out. I'll let you know how that turns out. So now, my audience, I'm going to take a photo of you, my little iPhone here. And I'm curious to see what phantoms you might be carrying around. I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, the ghosts from your past have forgiven you 1,000,000 times over too. There's a darkness inside of all of us, something we keep locked away. But that's what gives it its power. To truly disarm that darkness, I think all you have to do is acknowledge it. Look at it and say, I see you. You're part of me. So as I close this story, I have to say that yes, I'm in love with a ghost. I looked into the abyss, and that love saved me long after she left this world. And just to be spooky, I'm thinking I should tell you what I saw in the mirror that night. But be warned, I promise it would scare the living shit out of you.
I need a fucking cigarette.
That's gonna be a tough one to follow.
Yeah.